Let us know what your favorite map's been so far as well. I hope you're excited for Arch of Janus back-to-back here in today's games, in today's series. It's pretty exciting from my point of view. Bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player from Root Gaming. It is Kelazhur. I'm going to have to the top right from Team Expert. It's Scarlett. So this is a very long map, and so the way this works is you have the main, the natural, and the third. And when we were judging this, we were arguing. There was an argument of, is this new at all? Like, is this new? Is this different? Like, and people were saying it's standard, but I mean, we got an island base or two as well, top right and bottom right and top left. The thing is, though, continue to expand. You know, you go along this large pathway. Obviously, you can come through the narrow pathways, but that becomes a bit more awkward. And this idea of just like a single larger pathway as the entirety of the map, it's cool. I like the idea of it, and I'm excited to see some more games on it as well. So setting on up into game number 1. Waiting to see how these two players are going to approach Anomaly here. Again, yesterday's game between Sue and Gumiho was pretty awesome on Anomaly. So interested to see what happens this time around. As we have more TVZ, of course. I think Catalyst is the best out of the new maps. Just a good stand map, but not over acolyted. I like Catalyst as well. Simple, normal. You know, I mean, I like the simple and normal maps as well, you know. But it feels different enough to kind of have fun playing on it. Anyways, let's look to see what's going to happen. Is this a tower defense map? Well, this has been asked a few times. No. I mean, it isn't. What else can I say? Something we did see interesting yesterday was Sue actually took 3rd base here and 4th base there, right towards the center of the map. We'll see if Scarlett thinks of doing something similar as our early game. Not too crazy just yet. Just setting up in towards this. Reaper going to pop out. And Reaper going to be moving towards the upper, over to the right-hand side. Looking to get some damage done in the early stages. So again, after this series, guys, we do have Scarlett versus TY, followed by Scarlett versus Classic. 2 more matches for you guys tonight after Scarlett Kelazhur. That means we're halfway through the evening. 9 maps left to be played. Lots and lots of StarCraft coming up. We are scheduled to cast the OG Cup number 1 Group D tonight as well. I'm not sure if we're going to right now, simply because I'm just not feeling great today. You guys might be able to tell, but we'll see what the day brings us. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys up to date on whether we will be live this evening as well or not. What's up, Demoniac Mill coming in with the 9-month resub. Wardy, we could totally have a baby by now. Dude, I'm pretty sure we've had a Twitch baby before. This is like our 2nd Twitch baby. Crazy. Thank you so much for the 9 months. Give us some love in the chat for the consistent, regular support from Demoniac Milk. Thank you so much, man. Do you appreciate? We've been poking around, prodding, seeing what's up, as we're going to be seeing a couple of Hellions of Kelazhur coming through the south side, over to the right, and again, looking to see what maybe they can do. Link speed about finish up from Scarlett as well. And the yellow game fairly standard. Hellions on the way from Kelazhur, the free hatch play from Scarlett. Really nothing too overly, nothing too much to exaggerate about or kind of scream about just yet. Creep trying to just jump on over to the other side here, just trying to stay safe from the Hellions. Scarlett cancelling there for a second, and then continue it on, and again that creep pushing out rather nicely at the moment. 3 more drones on the way up from Scarlett too, a couple more queens. And yeah, I mean 4 Hellions just sitting at the front trying to deny creep spread from moving any further forwards than it already is. Obviously that's where the queens come into play to try and push it down. Scarlett just taking that 3rd base, and again we'll see whether the 4th base gets taken right to the south here, whether it gets taken up north. We'll be keeping eyes on that as the game passes by. 6 Hellions are now up and more Hellions on the way. With the armory dropping down, we're starting to see that this is indeed going to be a hell of an attack as Kelazhur loses 1 Hellion there right away. Banshee on the way up as well, and the armory also coming up as well. And again, just continue to set up in towards this. Viking pulling back to the left-hand side. And again, the Hellion just trying to do a little bit more. SCV does get picked off. A couple of workers going down, so not too bad. Kelazhur being forced to pull all the way back to deal with that, though, as now he will go forwards once again for this Hellbat attack to try and make something happen here. Coming over to the far right-hand side, and Well, let's see how this works out. Banshee on the way as well. First Banshee is already actually out on the map, and the second one is the one that's now built, and Cloak is done as well. And so Kelazhur going to test Scarlett's preparation at the moment. Scarlett with 6, 7 queens, a bunch of lings as well. I mean, it's kind of weird how greedy she sort of feels like she's being, but she's making more lings now. Bane Nest's about to finish too, and I guess at the end of the day, it's actually going to work out okay for her. More queens popping every now and then as well. It all just does add up. This Banshee doesn't find a way in immediately here, and these Hellions are still just as Hellions. Plus 1 vehicle weapons now on the way, and Kelazhur are going to bring us a little bit of mech here on Anomaly for our first game of this series. Banshee comes in, and 1 or 2 drones is going to take a little bit of damage there. More and more Hellions coming over. There's going to be a lot of Hellions, and maybe Scarlett just going to be underprepared for this. Maybe not expecting just how many units are about to run in towards her third base. She's only on 54 workers though, so it's not like she's being overly droning or anything. Here you go, sees the Hellbats now. 8 Banes on the way up. The Queens will try and buy a little bit of time at the front. No medevac with this, so the Hellbats don't have any healing or anything. But man, a bunch of the initial Banelings are going to start taking a bunch of damage. You're going to see those Banes going to keep on rolling through, and just going to be seeing the Queens just going to be trying to defend as well. We see another couple of Banes connecting. Scarlett cleans it up without really actually having that much trouble at all. Isn't it crazy that Scarlett just always seems to have what she needs? Like, I swear down, Scarlett's this Zerg player who every single time I watch, I'm like, she's dead, right? Like, you don't survive this. And she's like, oh no, actually what I do is I just sort of like look as though I'm about to die, and then suddenly I have like 10 times as many units as you thought I could make in this 5-second period. And then I just overrun and don't even look as though I was ever in trouble. And by the way, I'm also 20 workers ahead because I never stopped droning at any point. And yeah, it's crazy. I remember watching Scarlett hold a 2-1-1 push a while ago, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I don't get it. Like, she's literally on like 15 more workers than anyone else usually is to defend this push. How does she survive here? And she made it look like super simple. Didn't even like take, didn't even lose a queen. Crazy stuff. Anyways, we're going to see Banshee poking again. That's what the queens come to respond to. There's going to be a mixture of melee and missile upgrades. We still have missiles actually going to continue coming in with the Bane speed as well. Going to be a mixture of Hydra Bane. That's been something we've been seeing as a way to fight against mech as well as of late. And it's funny, isn't it? Every matchup is starting to revert to Hydra Bane as its composition. It's already there in ZvP. It's there in ZvT vs Bio, and it's now becoming really a thing against mech as well. So I see this setting on up as we're just going to be seeing a Viking picking away an Overlord it finds to the right hand side. There's a Viking proking and prodding. Looks as though this Overlord going to drop in a moment or two. No transfuse available, a couple of seconds away from it. There's now another wave of Hellions coming through the center of the map. Hydra's on the way up. Scarlett has to make sure she's ready to properly deal with this here. Green's coming in to kind of deal with it on this kind of ramp. And again, it's going to come down towards the south side. You're going to see those drones pulling back, and well, Zergling's momentarily thinking of running in here. Oh no, these Hellions are actually getting a little bit cornered. What they're going to try and die for in the end is going to see, obviously, those Hydras on their own against Hellions. Not going to have the best of times. This is definitely a sort of composition from Scarlett, by the way, where Blue Flame will help a lot. That's about halfway done in production at the moment. 21 workers going down. Scarlett's taking a roasting, but 23 workers, and yet she is still in the even worker count with her opponent. Banshee's going to cloak up right here and just going to begin set to go once again to move in towards the mineral line, try and deal a little bit more damage. Fourth base to the south is obviously now taken, and again, intrigued to see what that kind of, how can she defend that, right? Because yesterday we saw Sue taking this base with the idea of you can kind of hold a more forward position. This base, fourth base, is actually kind of set back given the way that the map works, so it's kind of weird. I wonder how you actually engage mech on this map, because it is very narrow, single pathway most of the way. There's not a lot of chances to really set up that flank and, opportunity to really engage like you might usually want to. Just going to be seeing the Hive on the way up as well. Single swarm hose, not sure if that's really intentional here. It may very well just be a bit of a mistake, a bit of a misclick there being added into the this. Kelazhur builds up his fourth base, then extra factories are continuing to come on out and into play at the moment, so continue to set up in towards this. There's another wave of Hellions going across the map. Kelazhur has been finding quite a lot with these, enough to slow Scarlett's economy down. And Scarlett is indeed going to go into more swarm hosters, something she wants to commit into. As those Banes going to roll forwards, but the Hydras obviously not there with them, and so the Banes just getting blown up by the Hellions as they kite backwards. Hellions doing a good job. And again, the Banes just disappearing. Not really much of a trade as much as it was some free pickings for Kelazhur. Skull has the hive up in the Spire start. She doesn't actually start any Vipers just yet. Target's down a Hellion. Another Hellion going to go down as well. Another Hellion is very low. Again, for Scarlett, for Kelazhur, losing Hellions isn't anything like the end of the world. But for Scarlett, it's nice just to try and slow Kelazhur down a little bit in terms of his numbers. Just to stop him from, it's not really about picking the Hellions off. It's about stopping them from running by into, it's about kind of stopping them to get by into mineral lines, etc. We're just going to be seeing the Hellions still gathering up, and now the tank's pushing forwards as well. A lot more Lings on the way out. Obviously, if you get a lot of Banes here and they crash into the Hellions, which are generally expected to be Hellbats at that stage, that could be interesting. We're actually going to see the Swarmers down here. Actually going to drop in towards the natural expansion mineral line. The Swarmers are very lucky because actually the tanks and Hellions were about to catch them off guard, but they turned back to go and deal with those Locusts, and because he turned back, the Swarmers are actually going to be able to get out of there for now. Hydra's taking down some rocks, opening up other pathways on the map. Generally, the Zerg player is the one right now who's going to want to look to engage from multiple directions and make use of those other pathways. It's going to be seeing Queens here still fighting as the tanks do siege. Scarlett has to pull back her Lings, Hydras, and Queens. Obviously doesn't want to engage from kind of siege tank fire when he doesn't really have to. Hellions getting pushed back again. Again, these little ramps are very difficult to attack through, and it does kind of create this sort of more awkward situation as we're going to be seeing. The Wave of Locust goes down almost instantly, but it does get a siege tank and some splash damage past that as well. And still just going to be seeing the Hellions and tanks coming through the south side. So Hellions and tanks coming through the south. Hydras and Banes moving around here too. Scarlett's still just setting up as a, looking for a position and a way to fight against this army. And here it is. She's going to come in from the north and from the right at the same time. Banes are chasing Hellions down, and well, is that going to work out? Is that going to be enough? I'm not sure. Kelazhur loses the tank on the far right side as well. It looks as though Kelazhur... Well, I mean, the thing is for Kelazhur now, he doesn't have a lot to really help him out against the next wave of Locusts or anything, And Scarlett is still fairly safe on 5 bases. She's actually taking a 6th base as well, including that island base right now, and that's a pretty big deal if you get some mining over here. And actually comes, another base that actually in this situation, the Terran player can't really deny. Pushing through, we're going to see the Queens and Hydras starting to try and fight, and again, just trying to engage on into this. The Hellions taking quite a lot of damage. And, well, with all these Hellions going down, tank will be picked off as well. Another tank going down too, and another scan. Just going to be seeing these units of Scarlett backing away to the right side. Another set of Locusts just popping on up here. More Broodlords on the way out, plus 3 melee. I mean, the Broodlords for the first time in this game, actually, and right now there's no answer to that from Kelazhur. These Locusts have actually been very successful, considering there's only 6 or so Swarm Hosts. Every single time they seem to at least get a tank, if not a bit more. And it's just something that, for here, has pushed Kelazhur back slightly. Previously, it pulled him back and sort of bought Scarlett some time to set up all over again. And I think Kelazhur is in trouble because he just doesn't really have an answer to those Broodlords at the moment. Broods are going to start pushing on forwards. And we've seen a couple of sets of Broodlings starting to drop on down onto this army. Hellions pulling backwards here, wanting to try and stay alive against those Banes. As the Locusts come off cooldown again, they're also looking to try and drop down on top of this. Man, that siege tank count is disappearing pretty quickly at the moment, and it's starting to really be an issue, I think, as we're going to be seeing, well, Brood's actually going to come up top to help deflect the Hellions, but there's enough spines here anyways. Kelazhur's going to type GG. I think he's realizing he doesn't have a way to actually fight the Broodlords because he just didn't prepare for it in time. Last time Kelazhur went max racks. Let's see what happens this time around as we load into game. Scarlett's going to 12 pull drone pull. Wow. Alright, well, let's see it. Our top left Zerg is the pink Zerg from Expert. It's Scarlett. And she's going to be setting up against our red Terran player from Root Gaming bottom right, Kelazhur. This is going to be great. So again, the idea of this map, just as we set up into the aggressive style, is that if you do survive past the aggression, is that you will mine out rather quickly in your main, and then you get access to the kind of more normal side of the map. So once you get access to the more normal side of the map, you're suddenly able to kind of get into these extra bases and all the rest of it. So it's quite cool. Scarlett drone scouting is going to start double gases against what is already more than one barracks, but actually Kelazhur taking gas, so it's not going to be mass marine, maybe just a mass reaper play. But Scarlett setting up, 12 pool, not drone pool, actually just straight up 12 pool Ravager rush is going to be her play here in game number 2 on Archer. She is up 1-0 in the series. Remember, all maps get played no matter what though. If Scarlett goes 2-0 up, we still play the third game. As we set up in towards this, the Rotron just over halfway built then right now. As we do see the, that's going to be completing shortly, I suppose. And an overload here and there. These extra racks going to be finishing up shortly too. I'm just going to be seeing the, another one coming down as well. I guess just mass Reaper play. Mass Reapers versus mass Roach Ravager. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. Just before we do, Lala Bins coming in with that Twitch Prime sub. Putting us only 4 subscribers away from 250. Dude, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Get some love in the chat, please. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. First Ravager starts to morph on in. She's probably going to 12 pool Ravager. Yeah, good job, Risky. You're better than me at telling what's going to happen. I just got excited because I thought she might be able to... I thought she might 12 pool. It's the sort of thing Scarlett would do, like 12 pool drone pool or something. I don't know. But yeah, obviously, Risky in the chat. The Zerg God is the correct one, as we see. First Ravagers pick up the first Reaper. And here we go. We're going to be seeing the Reapers continue to gather together towards the ramp. There's one Rax on the low ground that's in a bit of trouble here. As we one base against one base, this Rax on the low ground can take a couple of shots. And I don't know if Scott needs to start working with it. I guess she's waiting for the Overlord, right? Once the Overlord's here, she can attack the high ground much more easily. Because we're just going to be seeing the first depot taking some damage, so... We're going to see some SEs pulling in. Obviously, the Reapers coming down and try and fight this, but the fact there's Ravagers is just so difficult for the Reapers, because the Ravagers have that extra bit of range, and they just do that damage to really pick away at the Reapers so easily. Another Growl coming down. It's actually a pretty sick trade-off in the end. One Reaper left over against two final Ravagers. One of those Ravagers is super low. More Reapers are going to pop out though. 32 to 26 supply, 15 to 19 workers. Scarlett's expanding, Kelazhur is getting ready to expand here in these early stages. And there's a few Ravagers still sat in the bottom left side. A couple more coming over, a Roach as well. And again, just another couple, well, the expansion's coming down, getting set up to play. Scarlett's starting to draw a little bit from here. Again, the Reapers in slightly higher numbers, but it's they're one-shottable for these Ravagers right now if they target fight. But the Reapers do pretty good damage to the Ravagers too. Low health Ravagers being pulled back right away. Kelazhur just waits for more Reapers, I think. I think he realized that over time, it's better for him to get more Reapers than it is for Scarlett to get more Ravagers. Let's see if he's going to pull down into this again. Jumps down, gets the low health Ravager right from the get-go. And again, the SCV's pulling in, although it's not actually stopping the Ravagers from targeting down Reapers. And if there isn't enough Ravagers killed off here and there isn't enough Reapers left over, Scarlett can attack in towards the main and really cause some chaos. Kelazhur types out GG. Scarlett will go up 2-0 after Archer Janus. And one gimmicky and thingy. We actually have 6 rush/new maps, which are a bit different and a bit aggressive. And this series is made up of a lot of rush and new maps. But we had earlier today a lot of the standard and macro maps being played as well already. As we get set into game number 3 of Scarlett Kelazhur. This will be Kelazhur's last game of the day. Let's see what he can make happen as we go into this. To the top right hand side, our blue Terran player from Root Gaming, Kelazhur. Top left, our red Zerg player is going to be Scarlett from Team Expert. Alright then, third game of this series. And again, with that new sub coming in from Chimerical X, thank you again. Only 3 subscribers away from our 250 sub goal. So crazy. So crazy. Let's talk about Battle on the Boardwalk. A map coming in here by Siddian the Bard. And again, we saw a really cool game on this map yesterday. So, let's see how this goes. So basically, we got hatch gas pool here to start from Scarlett. The main base and natural are fairly standard. In fact, this map can go split map very easily. It's got an Ulrena-esque sort of pathway at the top to kind of make it one of the rush maps. And then other than that, you know, you can take a third, fourth, and fifth fairly simply because the pathways are fairly narrow through the map. It's actually kind of hard to just push on through on, but there is a lot of these pathways. And then there's the boardwalk around the left-hand side or just around the bottom side of the map. And you have a gold base in each corner, but it's very difficult to get here. There is rocks blocking off, and it actually goes all the way into the main base. So you can actually come down here and take your third hatch down here or something. But then it's very difficult to defend, and it's very, you know, very out of location in general afterwards, so... Interested to see how this goes. Ooh, haven't seen this one in game with the sunsetty lighting. Yeah, this one's kind of cool. I like this one, actually. I didn't like this one when I was judging it a lot, but after yesterday's game, I'm intrigued to see how it plays out. It actually feels, I actually said this yesterday, it feels a lot like Ulrena. It has that kind of short pathway on the top. But it might even be a bit worse than Ulrena in the sense that late game it becomes this sort of split map fest because it is very difficult to attack on this map without kind of pushing through narrow chokes, etc. That obviously makes things a lot more difficult. Watchtower gets collected. Is taken away by Kelazhur. Obviously, this watchtower kind of cool to be able to kind of watch these two pathways. And each player has their own watchtower they can try and hold throughout the game to watch those while maybe focusing larger fights down the south side, etc. Is this not like Habitation Station without the gold bases? No, not at all, right? There's actually a submission in the map pool by Habitation Station V2, which was kind of interesting. Didn't make it to the finalists, though. But yeah, nah, it's not really like Habitation at all, right? It's got much narrower pathways. It doesn't have this crazy boardwalk on the side. I don't think it's like Habitation in any way, shape, or form. The only kind of similarity to Habitation is they're spawning like top right, top left sort of thing, I guess. Kind of close by out a bit. But even on Habitation, the mains were close to each other, not naturals out to each other, so it's a bit different as well. Anyways, a cool, interesting, little bit of a different map. Ling's on the way up, and a Bane nest coming down here from Scarlett as well. Another Queen just on the way out on the natural expansion. Medevac and a Stim Pack upgrade coming through here from Kelazhur. So still setting on up in towards this. There's another couple of Hellions on the way. And Kelazhur going to use this 2-1-1 build order to move in towards a 2-base all-in to try and end this early. While Scarlett looking at Ling... Is she looking at Ling Bane bust, or is she just looking to make Ling Bane to defend? She's got a lot of Lings that she's going to try and run in with, but there's maybe just a few too many Marines. She's going to jump straight on the Marines. The Marines are a bit spread out. She gets a pretty decent surround initially, but there's the Hellions. It's actually an important scout. Seeing Hellions alongside the fact that so many Marines are there, it gives her a very good idea of what this is. And because Scarlett hasn't delayed the Bane nest, because she's making a lot of units, this is a very good way for her to be able to deal with this attack, as we're going to see these units going to start pushing through the top side. Hellion does a little bit of damage there to one of the creep tumors. We're going to see more Banes morphing in. Queen's pushing forwards to help deflect the Hellion, the Medevac, etc. there. It's more like New Gettysburg than Ulrena. I just feel like Ulrena because... I guess it's similar to Gettysburg, actually, if you flip it around. Yeah, I suppose so. I just say Ulrena because the rush distance on Gettysburg is actually very long, I feel, whereas Ulrena was very I know what you mean, actually. But to be fair, Ulrena actually had a lot of similarities to Gettysburg. It had like a shorter rush path, and it also had this long, it had the tendency to go into the longer macro games after the early stages. So yeah, that's interesting. Anyways, SCV is going down, and Scarlett sets up a counterattack using the multiple paths on the map to get Lings across here. And doing quite a lot of damage because of it so far. SCV is being picked away at 11 so far and still counting as these Lings finally get cleaned up in the main and on the natural. There's obviously distracts and slows Kelazhur down other locations though. Scarlett though with plenty of Banes looking as though she's going to be looking okay to do this. And continue to set on up. Another Ling run by. She's obviously feeling so comfortable about being able to just defend against this army through the top. And that's why she just keeps sending Lings over this side. And as soon as she sees this army pushing forwards again, I'm sure those Lings will make a dive in towards one of the mineral lines. Combat Shield's now on the way up. And as Combat Shield is now on the way up, we're going to be seeing Scarlett also going into a +1 Carapace upgrade, something she didn't invest into super early on. As we now have two Medevacs moving around the side. So they're going to be looking to see where they can go. There's still some Lings over to the far right side. Where does the Terran player go from here? 2 bases, starting building some Widow Miners to kind of add to this army he's been building up on. Looks though he's still going to commit into the kind of 2 base all in. Question is just how aggressive is he going to be and how soon is he going to be? Obviously, he'll be super aggressive eventually, but when is he going to actually look to attack as we're going to see this drop up the left side? Scarlett has an Overlord here though, and we'll see this coming in. Immediately starts to pull Banes and Queens back into position to help out with that. Lair's about halfway done, Lair being an important part to get into Bane speed here. And there is those Marines lifting up into the medevacs, being forced back away. A lot more Lings coming over to the right-hand side. A lot more Lings coming in towards this back right-hand side, and getting ready to kind of attack up here again if Scarlett sees the rest of the army moving out onto the map. Continue to move into this and see what's going to happen. Ling's going to come on in here, work their way through those rocks. And again, more Lings coming on over and just going to force those Marines to lift up. We're just going to be seeing the Hellions coming in through. Elrena never really split map though, and Gettysburg did a lot. Well, I mean, Elrena, when split map pretty much every single time there was like a macro game, right? You'd see split map all the time on Elrena, I feel. It's just that sometimes it ended early, which is why I sort of feel it can happen on this map. It can end early, but if it doesn't, it sort of ends up going in towards a split map, and that's why I sort of feel Elrena. Anyways, big fight has been happening, and I don't think I really need to say much about it because Scarlett has just overrun